Okay, we'll open it up for questions from the press. Yes.
Josh Wolski, the Minot Voice.
We need to have the press use the microphone.
Sure. Josh Wolski with the Minot Voice. Question for the National Weather Service. What's the weather pattern over the next 2 weeks to say month that raises the most concern in terms of flooding?
That's a very good question. Thanks for that. I should have addressed that in the opening remarks. Our expectation over the next 10 to 14 days, basically the next 2 weeks, is for below to significantly below normal temperature, cold, and about normal amounts of precipitation. Okay, so we don't see any significant melt happening, any contribution from a significant melt. We don't see that happening for the next 10 to 14 days. That would take us into the end of April, about the 26th or so. There is indication then that very end of April, that last weekend of April, and then into the first week of May, that we will return to more normal temperatures and hold with normal amounts of precipitation. Now, the mayor had mentioned that it's a good thing we're having a slow melt, and it is a great thing that we're having the cool temperatures. We'd actually like to see it just a hair warmer, as I'm sure you all would, just maybe 5 or 10 degrees warmer, so we could have gotten a little more melt going. But so far, this is working out okay. And right now it looks, again, through the rest of April, before we start any significant melt, the very end of April, the very last few days of April, into the first part of May.
Yes.
To follow up on that question, can you give us an idea of the moisture content of the snow, the runoff, and if there's a way for anybody to translate that into acre feet as well? Because you talked about having 83,000 acre feet of capacity available. How many acre feet of runoff are you expecting?
That I cannot answer. I think it's possible, I don't know if that can be answered. Possibly the Colonel from the Corps can address part of your question. What I would say is, from the Weather Service standpoint, this storm this weekend, we will be close to freezing, so there should be about a 10-to-1 ratio with the snow, meaning 1 inch of snow has a 1/10 of an inch of water, 10 inches of snow, 1 inch of water. So I would expect somewhere close to 1 inch of moisture to be added this coming weekend across along the Highway 2 corridor. As far as how much water is out there, that's available on the National Weather Service website, and I don't, off the top of my head, I don't have that, but it's on the order of, I would suspect, 2 to 4 inches through most of the basin, more up in Saskatchewan, as the mayor pointed out, with their record-breaking snow in some communities up in Saskatchewan. They're more like 4 to 6 inches of water in the snow that's on the ground. I cannot answer what that corresponds to as far as acre feet or anything like that. Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, over here, Perry Olson, KXMC.
Perry, yes.
I look like Waldo, I'm told.
Oh,
so
I
should be easy to find.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah. Wrong color, I guess. You go with the red stripes. You talked about the decision that was made today to bring down Lake Darling another foot, and how you'd like to see it go down even another foot beyond that. My question maybe to Colonel Bergman, if he can hear, what is the harm in bringing Darling down, especially knowing there's a, quote, as we've heard today, record snowfall that's happened over the winter in Canada? Why not bring it down more to the level you want, and even farther than that? And what's the harm in doing that, especially 2 years removed from wishing we had a lot more space?
This is Colonel Bergman. I guess it's 2 issues right now with our partners within the state and downstream. To draw down currently from where we're at 2 more feet before the snow melts, we'd have to increase the flows to make that happen. Right now, the downstream communities, farmers, and Manitoba especially, has requested, and we concur, that it stay at this amount. Right now it is manageable without any additional work downstream, and we are confident that we can maintain it. The additional issue is if we draw down Lake Darling even though there's a lot of snow melt and water content, the Canadian reservoirs are actually already all below their targeted levels to where they can refill for this summer for their water storage, power plants, and et cetera. And if we draw ours down lower, there's a potential, based on what's there right now, that we would not be able to fill Lake Darling back up to our, let's see, 6 feet for its storage level for what we maintain for our management plan. And right now that's in an international agreement. We've agreed to come down the 1 foot versus 2 foot. And if the need changes, then we'll relook that. But those are the two determining factors right now.
Kurt, can you address that?
Well-
It seems like we want to make sure that we have enough water.
Yeah, I'm not an engineer. I'll state that first.
Neither am I.
But I have been up there, and you can't see everything from a plane, but you can see it pretty well. Just thinking back 2 years, I think it was everybody's idea, if you have more room, if we'd had more room, more storage, it would have been much better off for everyone. The other thing I hear often is, it'd be nice to get as much water as you can through early. It doesn't seem to harm as many people if you can get it through early. At the same time, I've been downstream and I see there are some problems on the river, so that has to be taken into consideration when they're lowering Lake Darling. I mean, I've been pretty clear that it would be nice to see that come down 2 feet rather than 1. And I guess the other reason I would say that is we've been talking about trying to get a new management plan. To me, this would be a great time to experiment with that and see what works. How low can we go and still make this work? So I think twofold. One, we'd learn something, and 2, we'd get some water out of there.
What if this week ends, the drawdown of this extra foot, and we're still not... Sorry, this is my last one on this. What if we said this extra foot drawdown will happen this week, so we're at a level of, 2,800 out of Darling. If we end and we're still kind of sitting where we are, weather-wise and everything like that, why not keep that outflow of 2,800 going? You're not damaging any other property that hasn't already been hit with water. You could keep bringing it down.
Yeah, that was the first argument that came back to us, actually, was, the harmful effects downstream. And I said, well, if we don't raise how much we're bringing down, let's just leave it at that and see how much we can get out without harming anyone any further.
Let me just make a brief comment in that regard. No. I can assure you, just as I said earlier, there's a lot of communication and discussion. And as this week continues on and we reach a point, say 5 to 10 days from now, and everyone feels comfortable we can continue, I think that's a likelihood. But I think right now we need to take a look at what's occurring, not cause any additional damages downstream of the dam, and just follow it closely, keep talking, communicating, and then a week from now, there may be a decision to draw it down, continue to draw it down at the 2,800 level. But right now, I think everyone feels confident that this is the right thing to do, and we'll just follow it closely.
Anyone else?
Colonel Bergman, this is Jean.